From the author of Spinsterella, a strange and unusual romance, and Spellbound, a darker shade of black, comes the legendary Magneto. Pick up the conclusion of the Spinsterella trilogy in paperback and e-readers this Halloween. Recently, one of these buck-dancing, bojangling, tap-dancing, shoe-shining minstrels decided he was going to post an article on the Root.com talking about straight black men are the white people of black people. And this article is nothing more than pure propaganda meant to promote a narrative about black men that is completely untrue. Now, when it comes down to this whole Root.com, this is not a black website. This is a website owned by Comcast, which is part of the Big Six Media. And Comcast owns Vivendi Universal, NBC, and Univision. And when it comes down to your Comcast, they have a very negative view of black people, especially heterosexual black men. So they'll go out here and hire one of these Afro-American Negroes to go out here and produce a piece of propaganda like this, promoting the lie that straight black men are the white people of black people, knowing that this information just isn't true at all. Because all you have to do is go outside and look at the world and see that heterosexual black men have none of the privileges or advantages of white people. When it comes down to your heterosexual black male like myself, we are often the most oppressed people in society. And the reason why we are the most oppressed people in society is because the heterosexual black man represents power in the black community and leadership in the black community. And when it comes down to white supremacy, they don't want to see heterosexual black men in large numbers because heterosexual black men will become the leaders of the community because this is the role that God created for men to be the leaders in their community. And they don't want to see black men rise to leadership positions. So they start talking about how straight black men are the white people of black people, a pure piece of propaganda. And it's not true at all because when it comes down to black men who are heterosexual have had war declared on them since the beginning of this country because when it comes down to white supremacy fears heterosexual black men and it fears black men who are heterosexual having economic power. Moreover, it fears them having political power because they know if heterosexual black men were to have economic and political power, they would create a competing economy here in America, and they don't want heterosexual black men to be in large numbers. This is why there are constantly police brutalizing heterosexual black men. This is why heterosexual black men are often denied opportunities in the job market, and this is why heterosexual black men often have a hard time trying to be the leaders and authority figures and have their authority undermined by things like this black women joining up with the feminist movement because they don't want to see heterosexual black men rise to a position of power. And then what they do to try to reinforce these ideas, because they see more heterosexual black men talking on social media, is they find one of these minstrels out here to write an article like this and then try to promote this idea in people's minds. But because all you have to do is look outside and look at a heterosexual black man like myself who has been out of work for almost 8 years, and you'll see that how is your heterosexual black man just like a white guy? Because most white guys have jobs. Most white guys go to work. Most white guys have money. Most white guys have economic power. Most white guys are respected. When it comes down to black men who are heterosexual, they don't have that. When in most communities, most heterosexual black men are at the bottom of the community. They don't get any respect from anyone in their community, not even their own women, not even their own children, and not even anyone in the community. When it comes down to a heterosexual black man, he walks in the room and everybody is pointing daggers at him. I know this from personal experience. Most people feel uncomfortable in the presence of a heterosexual black man. Now, a white male can walk into a room, and what will happen with the white male is the white male will command respect. People will automatically start submitting and deferring to him. And this could be a low-level bum white guy, and they will do that for him. So that whole argument about straight black men being the white people of black people, that's all BS as I see it. Because when it comes down to a black man like myself, again, I can tell you from personal experience, I have none of the privileges that any of these white males out here have, whether they be straight or gay. Because a gay white man has more privileges than a heterosexual black man, and a gay black man has more privileges than a heterosexual black man. A straight black man, again, once he walks in the room, is considered an enemy and an adversary to most people here in America. And again, I have experienced this personally when I've gone on job interviews. I can go in that room looking as professional and as polished as I want, and I will be treated with contempt when I walk into that job interview, and that person will give me nothing more than hostility. However, let anybody else come in that room and they won't get treated in such a contemptuous way. They will be treated quite friendly. People will be cordial to them, and they will treat them with respect. So that whole argument, when I listen to it again, talking about straight black men or the white people of black people, that's garbage as I see it. Because a straight black man, if he was like a white person, again, he would be able to go out here and walk into a job interview, and they would be considering him first, just like they consider that white male. They'd be making offers to him like that white male. That heterosexual black man would be able to get opportunities like bank loans. He'd be able to walk in and get a bank loan, no problem, to open up a business. He'd be able to go out here and buy a home. And when it comes down to straight black men, we often get those opportunities denied to us. If we were to go in some bank and we had collateral and we had assets and we asked for a bank loan to open a business, guess what we're going to be told? We're going to be denied almost immediately. If we go in there talking about we want to get a mortgage, we would get denied almost immediately. But a white male with really terrible credit can walk in there and he's got it. And a white male with a high school diploma can walk in and be a manager, but a black man with a college degree, he can't even get an entry level job. So that whole argument is fundamentally flawed. And this all comes from people who want to talk about, you know, black male privilege and things like that. Show me where that is, because as a black man who has been living in America for 44 years, I can honestly tell you there is no black male privilege, and black men aren't like white men at all. As a black man, I can tell you my world is completely different than that of your white male. So when I listen to this kind of propaganda, again, I have to say to myself, who is writing this stuff and how much are they paying him? Because this, what you're being paid financially, is a pittance compared to the compromise a person would have to make to write this type of propaganda. This is something written by a sellout, a minstrel, someone looking to get crumbs from the white people's table and validation from white people, because to write this surely shows me that this individual is a sellout. This is someone who has betrayed their race, and for them to say that straight black men are the white people of black people when black men who are heterosexual are at the bottom of society, do not have any of the privileges of white males, do not have any of the advantages of white males, do not get the same opportunities as white males. For you to write this shows me that you are a person who is nothing more than a slave, who is sitting there, wants to be a slave to white supremacy, and wants to promote these false ideals just to get a paycheck. But what you get as a paycheck is nothing in terms of the cost of what you're trying to promote in the black community. This article is nothing more than a lie, and this is the type of media most black people need to think about critically, because this is the type of media that will have you believing lies as truth. And when you see companies like Comcast coming out with media like this is where you have to start saying to yourself, you know, you have to really vet the black media you read and vet the black media you watch, because when it comes down to this type of black media, this type of black media is meant to promote false ideas in the black community and false narratives in the black community. And this is the type of media you really have to fight against, because this is not black media. Because real black media that is black owned, like my SJS Direct Publishing imprint, we know the truth about what's going on in the black community. And most straight black men like myself do not have any of those privileges. We are the most oppressed people in the world. When it comes down to the heterosexual black man, He cannot get justice from the criminal justice system. He cannot get full-time employment on the regular, and he cannot get opportunities like that of a white male. A white male in America, whether he be a beta or an alpha, has more opportunities and more advantages than a heterosexual black man. And this article is just another propaganda piece that is a part of the ongoing war that has been going on against heterosexual black men for the last, I'd say about century or so, and that has been ratcheted up over the last 50 years, because this war on heterosexual black men, as I see it, really started escalating with this feminist movement that black women became a part of, and the propaganda they produced, like The Color Purple and Precious and all these other books which were designed to castigate and degrade black men. And articles like this are just another part of that propaganda machine, which is meant to try to present the black man as some sort of creature, not a human being who wants to be a part of American society and wants to contribute to American society in a constructive way. Black men who are heterosexual want to be a part of American society and contribute to American society. Unfortunately, white supremacy doesn't want us to commit to contribute to American society, because they fear competing with a black economy, and they fear black men having economic and political power on the same level as white people. And they fear that if black men created a competing economy, that they would threaten their whole structure of white supremacy and destroy it completely. If you'd like to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon by clicking the link in the description box. And if you want to try some of my SJS Direct publications, you may do so by clicking the link to Amazon.com. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.